back to another episode of One Step Further. I am Justin Arnold, and those tuning in for the first time, this is a faith-based podcast where we look at ways to provide to move your life a step further, whether it be personally, professionally, emotionally, spiritually, whichever. And we have some amazing guests on here, and one of those amazing guests is Matt. And a little background on how I know Matt is we met through Arbonne, and then we've just connected on the fitness level. He's out in Kentucky, which he'll tell you about his gym and everything else. And man, I just chatted with him. I knew that he could provide some real value to people that listen to this podcast. He's just a cool dude. So Matt, why don't you introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself. We'll get this conversation rolling.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. Thanks for having me on here today. And it's always an honor to be invited somewhere and be part of something different. And I think this is a great podcast to be able to express one that we love, which is fitness. And I think we'll jump into some nutrition. We'll talk to some faith, a little bit of everything today. What hopefully something will resonate with you. But my name is Matt Perraut, and I've been personal training for the last 20 years. I've coached cross country and track and field for the last 12, 14, 13. I don't know how many years. It's been a long time. I think it's actually been 15 years. But we absolutely love doing that, reaching out to our youth and getting them involved in community in different ways. And also owning my own fitness center. That's in the business itself in its own realm of complications, but especially during this COVID epidemic. So, yeah, dealing with that, we both have challenges set upon us. But anytime you have those challenges set upon you, you try to rise up and put your boots on and tie them up a little tighter the next day. But happy to be on here, and let's go.
Yeah, 20 years, man. Let's start there. I could always start with the obvious. We'll probably get to COVID and everything else, but what got you to just start in fitness? Not just gym ownership, but just I'm gonna be a trainer. Did you see it as a career? Did you see it as a long path? Tell a little bit about that.
Absolutely not. I was always into fitness, but when I went off to college, I actually took a couple years off, and I actually did the wrong things. I ate pizza every night, drank sodas. And that had too much alcohol. I mean, just made all the wrong mistakes. My first couple of years of school, I was actually a math major. I wasn't even going to school for fitness. I wasn't even thinking about that. And I realized I was completely out of shape after 2 years in college, going, I've got to make some changes. I could flex my arm and see no bicep change. I said, oh my goodness. Yeah. So I started focusing on myself. And then when I started doing that, I said, well, this math thing's not really working out because this is really hard stuff. Really hard stuff. I was in Calc 2, I was in Stat 3, and I said, this is going over my head. I cannot grasp it. So let's switch gears. And I said, well, I like the fitness thing, but maybe I go into education and do the teaching physical education. Well, got into that for a year. I did some character education at the local community schools that I have here, where I still live today, where I grew up and born and raised here in Bourbon County, Kentucky. And I realized teaching is not for me. Yeah, Bourbon County. Teaching is not for me. But the fitness thing is. So I took off with it at college at EKU, Eastern Kentucky University, and I helped do some of the on-site campus faculty training. And that kind of got the ball rolling. And right when I graduated college, I got an internship at our Toyota Motor Manufacturing's fitness center and took off with it from there. And after a couple of years, 4 years of working in their fitness, the industrial center like that, in their corporate center, I decided that we wanted to stay in Bourbon County, and I was going to open up my own center. So that's kind of how it went. Started out of my garage and then moved to a small 1,200 square facility. And now we're in about a 5,000 square foot facility,
that's awesome.
Which I'm standing in today. So
that's awesome. And are you guys predominantly CrossFit still? Or are you guys?
We are a big hybrid. I would call us a hybrid. We have general fitness. We do offer CrossFit, but it's really only probably 10% of my actual clientele. I personally do it, but my clientele is more, we do what's called Xfit. It is something I created a long time ago, which is simple circuit training. It's revving your heart rate up with simple movements and not so much complexity that maybe CrossFit brings. CrossFit brings a lot of the high-end, intense movements. We don't quite tap into it. We stay with the push-ups, the dumbbell bench press, your air squats, to your lunges. Nothing crazy. I think maybe the most complex move we do is maybe wall balls or dumbbell snatches.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like a Matt version. I don't want to say quite like me. Like, we're definitely not a CrossFit. I don't even have the CrossFit label. I did do it for years. But yeah, same thing for those that don't know about Flex MP or Flexible Performance, where the facility I own, similar. I look at it as like unconventional functional fitness. And I always tell people, you're coming here to move better, feel better, and live better, not go home broke physically, mentally, and all that. So that's cool. So just to give you guys an idea, like how awesome this guy. I don't know if you're expressing, like I only wore it today, but he gave my kids these amazing armbands. So like he's just a man of love. He's reached out. He sent me some stuff, and it says never quit. This is something he gives his track players, and if you flip it on the inside, it says finally be strong in the Lord and His mighty power. And for those that are listening that aren't faith based, he's not putting pressure on anybody to believe. He's just, this is him, and this is it's what has gotten us through some of his trials and tribulation. If you heard a little bit about the story they were sharing there, man, it's just interesting. Like, he just went for things, and it's like how God kind of navigated his life, whether he wants to admit it or not. He definitely has. So, man, and so you talk about your gym, you talk about what brought you into fitness. I think we have some similarities there in our story, but this is about you today. What got you into like track and doing that, since we're kind of on the armband thing and everything else? So.
Yeah. No, it was actually very ironic. I mean, I ran track in high school and played football, played some sports, but
another
I was
similarity.
Yeah. And then what got me in the track was the AD, not the current AD. When I first was in the community, personal training, I used to do walk, jog groups, and I was a big triathlete. I was very competitive at triathlons, and I loved competing. I did a lot of half Ironmans and loved that distance put into it. And well, the local AD says, well, since you're a runner and you do distance stuff, can you coach our cross-country program? I'm like, I've never ran a day in my life. I don't even know what the rules are. And so he encouraged me to do it, and I reached out to it, started the program. I think, honestly, I have to really look back. 14 years ago, I think, and we had 3 kids on my program. And to this day, we have over 100 that run K through 12 every season, track or cross country. We've had up to almost 150 do track. We have about 100 plus do cross country. And guess what? In 2 days, we're hosting a home meet that's going to bring our community together with 80 plus other schools coming this Saturday. Over almost 1,400 athletes are showing up. I know the COVID rules are making it very challenging, but we are going to overcome these obstacles and still do our passion and still coach and get out there amongst the community. We just got to stagger it the right way to keep the numbers the best, so it's not going to cause a conflict of interest and all that jazz. And we got some hoops and ladders to go through, but hey, every challenge has a new opportunity.
I've heard a few times, and just these things are put in front of you, these doors open, and you didn't. I don't want to use the words didn't have a clue, but it's just like you never done this, you never coached, you never did this, and like how many stories in the Bible, like that you hear that where like God puts people in positions that they never thought they would be able to do, never thought they could do, weren't capable of doing, and then they were able to do and excel in it. And so I just think like even what you're talking about has a biblical nature to it, and I think that's just incredible. So, and speaking of kids, so he's a pretty humble man, this Matt guy. He may not admit it, but he is. Like, he's a busy father. He's got kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids. I have a 17-year-old and a soon-to-be 13-year-old son.
See, he got 2 teenagers. So like this guy's like sitting here serving the world and serving his family at the same time. So let's switch gears a little bit. So you've been doing this for 20 years, so you've obviously seen a lot. I mean, I've seen just a lot, and I've been doing this for about 15 years in just the health and wellness journey, but none of us have ever seen things like what we're represented now. Everything that's going on with COVID, to social media, to like the distractions, to as we see more and more gyms built, more and more trainers train, we're not even making a dent. Things just keep rising in the health epidemic. So let's talk about that a little bit as far as like how have you guys been able to stay open as so many gyms closed? How have you navigated through these, whether you are within the noise, staying above the noise, or whatever it looks like? Tell us your story as far as, since our shutdown here in New York was March. I don't know what it was like there in Kentucky, but kind of share a little bit of that for the people that are listening, the viewers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the tough part is financially, obviously. When you get shut down, there was not a lot of financial rescue is what I want to call it at first. But I did have, in my facility, we have roughly a couple hundred members. Actually, we had about 240 before the shutdown. And we shut down in March 13th was the day that had shut down. I think it was Friday the 13th. Kind of ironic, but I think it was. I have to go back and look at that. And then it was 3 months we were completely shut down. So, of course, with memberships that pay monthly, I had over 125 members that were gracious enough and financially able to still support me during that shutdown and still paid their dues, even though they weren't showing up, even though I wasn't allowed to open my doors to them.
That's awesome.
And that's what allowed this place to still rise up. And it allowed me to have that mental fortitude to go, okay, this many people are still supporting me and they don't have to. That means they love this place. This has been a staple in our community for these few hundred members, and they love this place. And that meant they had a passion to try to keep it open and help me out. So that was, the community came together. They came together to help keep me open. And then when we finally opened the doors, they started trickling right back in, and people came back and was able to, the world kind of found ways to deal with the epidemic of COVID-19 and figure out how can we get around and still social distance and keep people safe and still work out, do the things that we love. And so we found those avenues and that opportunity here. And so now we're back open full force, and we're close to the closed down numbers. So I'm back to about 220 members in here. Super excited to get back where we were. And but I'll be honest, Justin, the members that were here through the thick and thin, to be completely honest, is what pulled me all the way through it.
Yeah, I would say similar thing between, and it was Friday the 13th of all days. Similar here. It was interesting during all the time, but yeah. So we literally we went through something similar, but if it wasn't for my loyal clients, which all of them are great, they're all loyal, but just those ones that were doing similar things. I mean, I'm one of those people, like I had a couple clients like, hey, just keep deducting. You don't have to do anything. I was like, I can't do that. So I was shipping them workouts, sending them at home stuff. Oh, they did it sometimes and they appreciated it, but I just always have to feel like I have to serve and provide value. Sounds like you did the same thing there. So that's just cool, because Matt's a good dude, and it's awesome to see, because I was literally just reading a book the other day about the percentages of businesses and how long they last. I think it's within the first year, most small businesses close. I don't know about the fitness. I'd love to look at those statistics, but 30% close in the first year. Within the first 5, I think it's 50%. And then by, year 10, it's 70% have shut down. So to say that you've been doing this in line of work, and maybe it hasn't been the exact same gym you're in, but the fact that you're able to keep this career, I think that just says a lot about you, and I just think that's incredible. Talk about that. You talk about your members, you talk about your faith, you talk about your track. Talk a little bit about your faith through everything through the last 20 years, or whatever you feel like. If a story clicks in your head, I know faith is hugely important to you, and just like you, we all fall short. We all have our peak and valleys. But what would you want to share on that? Some of the people that might be listening that could provide some value in their lives.
No, the great part about that is faith never gives up on you. We sometimes give up on it. And that's what you got to remember. Things we're going to go through our roller coaster of life. All right. We're going to have our ups and downs, twists and turns, the sickening parts, the scary parts, but also the exciting times, the awesome moments, the thrills. And that's, I call it the roller coaster, because we are all on that. It's whether you stay on it consistently to the end. That's when you can learn to enjoy that ride. And that's what I found out through this. I did have those moments during COVID where I was upset and I was nervous and I was scared financially, and also because of the epidemic. You didn't know what to expect. We didn't get to even perform like our cross-country program this spring, and I could see the kids' faces. I could see that they were just like, what's going to happen next? And when you see these younger people that are also hurting, you don't know really how to reach out, because you don't have the answers except for keep your faith. Keep that motivation, because it is going to turn around. There is going to be a silver lining where we're going to be stronger for this. We're going to understand it's going to bring people back together. And I think a lot of it spoke to me during it when the members that hung on, everybody was hit different financially. And I completely respect all of them that couldn't and were able to. So the ones that couldn't, I know were hurting financially just like I was. And like so many people were in the world, especially small businesses. Because they relied on that regular income and they didn't have it. And their expenses were still there. but that faith is what holds it together at the end of the day. Because if you didn't have it, we would have crumbled like a cracker. Man, just would have just fell apart quick, you know. And that's what kind of puts it all back together. You have to remember there's a bigger and higher power that's going to pull it through. This stuff is happening for a specific reason for each one of us differently. Whether it's your personal growth, whether it is your family, or whether it's your whole network of people that's around you. So it's been amazing to reflect back on it, because this was something that shook the world, or at least shook us in our community. And we're rising up. We have found out ways to overcome a lot of this, and it's been just neat to see the faces that have come back and get back into the fitness and see changes. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and it sounds like with you, like I know one thing. It's like, you know, you're just taking it day in, day out, for 20 years, or however long. You know, one thing I realized even through all this is like how resourceful. You know, I wasn't. It sounds like similar to you. Like you took it one day at a time. You made it through it. Your members made it through it, and like if anything, you guys have grown closer through it. And I think that's just an incredible testimony of you. So let's switch gears again. And I know you. So one of the things I mentioned early on is we met through Arbonne. And for those who don't know what Arbonne is, it's just an incredible company. It's been around for like 40 years, and I could go on all day. It's like, where do you start? Like, they're just this incredible company. Like, my main focus is the nutritional aspect of sports performance. They literally ban over 2,000 things from being in the products, and they're mainly vegan or plant-based products, and they have everything from skincare and stuff like that. And I just use it to help my clients. Like, I'm certified in nutrition. I know Matt has an experience in nutrition, but it's just one of those things. We just want to see our clients succeed the easiest way possible. And so, what do you want to share with people as far as like nutrition, Arbonne, whatever? Like, touch on that a little bit. Like, I know you have your particular ways. We all approach these in our own unique ways, and Matt is a very unique individual. So,
yeah, what I guess the Arbonne Avenue has opened my eyes to was a little clearer picture, because a lot of times we get stuck with different ideas and philosophies with your nutrition. What it helped me the most was to completely go back to the roots and base groundwork. What is about nutrition is quality of nutrient value. And that's what this company represents. It's what I was able to put a backing on. It's what I was able to go, you know what, I don't really want to go with this program. I don't want to go with that program, because all of them kind of went different views. Like, they counted calories, or they counted this or that.
Similar.
And this one doesn't do that. It just gets you to quality nutrient value. Where's your value of nutrients coming from? And are you bringing in bad with it or not? And this company really kind of showed my eyes to clean products. And I mean clean products as they try to reduce the amount of byproducts that's not needed, that your body not really going to digest in a healthy way, and it's not going to be hampered to your nutrition. It's actually going to give you that nutrient where your body's just going to be perform better, feel better. And I personally saw an amazing result in my triathlon when I decided to go with the programming. And
you talked about that.
Yeah. I went from averaging about 4 hours and 50 minutes on my triathlons. Okay. Half Ironman. Let me correct that. And when I went to that first 30-day program with this company put out, I said, it's not going to work, Rebecca. My wife really taught me to, who's amazing with coaching nutrition. She is awesome. I got to give her props for introducing it to me when I was a negative Nancy about it. I don't want to brand myself with any products. And she goes, no, please do it with me. Because she was battling with some.
You and I are similar. Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, please do this with me. So I said, all right, I'll do it with you. And I was nervous because I was getting ready I'm trying to compete for world championships, trying to get a time.
What a good husband.
Or at least a ticket. And it did. It got me there. And what happened was that with that race, I actually performed 25 minutes faster than my average race. And it was, and my calories, I was always worried about calories. Am I getting my 6,000 or 7,000 calories in for all this type of endurance?
Yeah.
I cut my calories down to 3,000 maybe while I was on this program.
It's about nutrients, right? It's
about the nutrient value.
And absorption. And that's what, like I said, the same thing. I was so like, one of my mentors and really good friends now, like he lives out in LA, and he introduced me to Arbonne 5 years ago. I said no. Like I just saw it as, I thought it was like everything else, like that's out there. And then I did the same thing. I finally went through the program, and similar idea. I leaned out, and it was the best I've ever felt. me having no appendix. And I've told my story before, so I won't go on that. But it sounds similar story. Like you and I we're just genuine, real people that have integrity, and we don't want to just shove something down our people's throat to make a buck. We want to help people, and that's why I brought Matt on here, and that's why I wanted for people to hear your story, especially for those that know me or don't know me. So I think it's key. And Matt's had a lot of success. If you aren't following him on social media, we'll make sure to put some of those links, because this guy's jacked. He looks pretty good, and he's pretty humble about it. So it shows what an Arbonne nutritional approach can definitely do for you. So anyways, like we've been talking about a lot here, like what is some things that, for people that are listening that, if you just had a few moments with them that you would just, especially in this current state with so much going on, every week there's a headline that somebody's posting, you see a million people resharing it. I mean, there's so much noise, there's so much distraction. Well, what's some tips you could give people to kind of like, move their life a step forward if people feeling pretty stagnant or even feel like they're going down? Because I'm hearing a lot of that, and people like you and me, I feel like we forget about it because we're doing so well, we're so happy, and like we're working out and we're having fun, and they're like, oh wait, there's a lot of people that aren't. So we all come through pain. I'm sure you've come from some pain points that's just gotten you to this point. What is something you'd like to share with some people listening, whether it be the pain points and share that, or whether it be some tips,
Well, my biggest tip, what I try to do is sit down with every client that sit down, we do an assessment. And even with myself, I have to do this. I have to self-assess what I'm doing. And that is, what is your why? I've said it over and over here the last few weeks. But what is your why? Why are you doing the things you're doing? What is the end result you want to get out of that? Is it something that's going to propel you forward? Is it going to help motivate others? Is it going to lift you up? And when you're lifting up, is it going to lift others with you? And that's what I really want to home in on, is we have to put things in our life on a regular basis, which is called consistency, consistently placing things in your path that's going to help recreate your why. And your why could be multiple things. It could be, I want to be the best at this, or I want to be the most influential person to lead people to Christ, or I want to be the most influential person to motivate kids to make the right decisions. I want to be the most, influential person to get people motivated to be more active, whatever it may be, or lead them to the right nutritional program.
Yes.
And that's just my realm. That's my little world. Everybody else may be, I want them to be able to read better, or whatever it may be. If you're a teacher, or there's all kinds of avenues, but you want to know, what is your why, and are you reinforcing that with consistent habits?
That's awesome, man. I agree 100% with that. Like, that's the thing, it's just 1% better every day. People like, I want to be 100%. No, just 1% each day, and think about what that could lead to the end of the year. I think that's great. I just wanted to ask you a couple other things, that isn't as serious as something we're talking about. Like, we all have our favorite, for those fitness people listening, what's some of your favorite work? Do you have like
Oh, I just lost you. There you go. I can hear you now.
Hear me now? Yeah, my Siri just responded for some reason. These things are always around, listening to you, following you.
They are. They have a mind of their own.
I know, right? Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I just started thinking about it. One of the things people were sharing with me was that off topic, but that documentary that just came out, Social Dilemma, I guess, it talks about all that. But anyways, I digress. So, favorite workouts, favorite WODs, favorite movements. What's some of the things that you love to do in the gym? Like, that keeps you going? We'll get burned after 20 years. So.
What's funny is I don't have one thing that I hate doing. I really don't. I do have some things that I love doing, though. Like, I love learning a new movement. Like, I didn't think I would. Because I was doing triathlons, it's just running, biking, and swimming. It's three movements. It's three simple movements is what I call them, even though each one of them can be broken down and be very complex. But I would say learning something new at my age. Like, I was 40 when I decided to do CrossFit. Did not know how to do Olympic bar work. Okay, did not know how to do a snatch. Did not know how to do.
He does really well with it, by the way. Now, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I didn't know how to do a muscle up. My whole crew laughed at me one day because I could do bar muscle ups after about 6 months of training, but could not do a ring muscle up for like a year and a half. And during one of the workouts, everyone was just laughing at me, and it was a big group watching me, and it was fun because the humility is what got me to learn to do them better. Take my time.
Yeah.
Go, hey, take it 2 steps back and do 1% better a day, like you said. Practice the basics on how to do them properly instead of just gung-hoing them and think I can just take that athletic ability and make it happen. I had to become a hard study and do the basics. So I love ring muscle ups. I actually love them now. And that was it took me a year and a half to learn how to do them. Handstand walking took me about a year to become efficient at those. I love doing handstand walks. Two of the most technical moves, and now I love those.
So people watch and listen. Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
I'd say that the harder technical moves are my favorite. And I'm not saying I'm the best at them, but I do love that challenge.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, I'm always looking for challenge movements. And, yeah, I will say, like, I like everything except for I'm honestly, even though I ran track, did soccer, played sports, I'm not a huge fan of, like, just running by myself. Like, I can run, but with friends. Or, like I did in the Adirondacks, where I had to run 3 miles in a downpour to get to get my family out of the cold. Like, that actually was, as crazy as it sounded, that was fun. Like, it was fun for me because, you know, I'm with you, too. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with these RMT ropes. You ever seen these before? That's my new challenge. It looks so weird. I was like, this just looks weird. I'm not going to do it. But I was like, you know what? I said some stuff like that right before I did CrossFit, like when I was 30. So I'm going to be 40 in January. And I was like, I started saying that about this. Is like, that looks stupid. And now I'm actually having fun. You know what? It's almost like I'm an active guy. So, like, yoga always hasn't been my thing. Yoga always hasn't been my thing because, like, I'll do movements like in a warm up, but I can't do like an hour long of that stuff. But this is like my new yoga, like an active, like, because it's like flow and there's athleticism to it. Have you played around with those at all yet?
No, I haven't done them yet.
Check them out. You can make your own. You don't need to buy one. There's plenty of free videos. I've been following WEC Method, if you're curious there. I just gave a shout out to them. But it's just, again, one of those random weird challenges. It's harder than it looks. And just like with the muscle ups, like, you literally just start with no rope, moving in the directions you want to move the rope in. And then it's just like, this stuff is, like, it's harder than double unders. It's crazy.
I'll have to give them a try because I love a challenge. So
you're gonna get frustrated because, like, this stupid rope. At least that's how I was like, why is this so hard? This looks. I got so frustrated with, like, these stupid little ropes.
Oh, tell me about it. How many times have you thrown your leg with a double under and you just said,
it's just a jump rope. Why can't you move twice under my leg?
I've seen so many people just throw their jump ropes against the wall because they get so aggravated, sting themselves in the back of the hand or toes or something.
Well, and you can't do that with a 200-pound barbell or whatever, or even a 100-pound barbell, but you can do that with a rope. So that's where you're getting your aggression out. One other thing, like you said 40, and I'm sure people are watching this, you gotta be like, wait, he just said Winnie was 40 and he's got a 17-year-old. Like, how old are you, Matt? Tell people how old you are. Hello? I think I lost you. You're freezing up a little bit.
I'm 43.
Oh, you're
43.
40,
yeah, I've got a
43. There you go.
Okay, 43, and I got a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old, 17-year-old daughter, 13-year-old son, and I've been married 18 years.
So when he just said, like, when he just started CrossFit barbell movements, and for those that look at CrossFit and never done it, it looks hard, but it just even shows in just 3 years' time at his age, like, him and I are in this mindset, even though he never mentioned no limitations. Like, he's a no limits kind of guy, and I'm sure he's with the same thing with his clients because I am the same way. So, like, I love that you never spoke on it, but just hearing your story, it's like, this is life. You roll with it, kind of like me in the woods. This is life. It's downpouring, and I love that. And that's what I did about right before I recorded this podcast, was just a quick little, like, 16, 17-minute version of me talking about that, about our walk, because it's like, that's what life is. Life is full of challenges. You know, we grow up, when we have depending on our bring up, we could have an amazing life. It could be hard, but in some aspects, we believe, like, everything should be given to us. Their life is full of rainbows and unicorns, as I like to put it. But that's not always the case. Life can be really hell, and you got to, like, literally have a good mindset, stay above it, and just take each challenge on. And that's why, like, people like, why would you go hike, and why would you do that, and why would you have fun on the run, or why would you take cold showers? It's all these little challenges in life that you actually have somewhat of control in, like taking a cold shower, that makes your body able to handle other challenges in life. So when these pain points and these hard points, these challenging, like, you still go through, even like now, that you're like, okay, this is it. How do we navigate through it? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. And it's and I think that excitement of once you accomplish that challenge is what propels you forward, even though the work is being done on studying and putting the time, investing time into yourself, which is very, very important, and putting those challenges upon yourself. And it's always fun to have a group challenge, do something new, but it's great when something's laid upon you, like, do I go after that or not? I don't want to do it really in front of anybody because they're going to see me weak or not able to do something. And so you start gradually doing it. Then you actually expose yourself to that weakness in front of people. And that's when people start to trust you as well. And they see that you're working through those movements the same they would. And that encourages them to move forward as well. So a lot of times when they see me, they go, oh, it's easy for you. Well, it is, but I put the time into it as well at times. So, and I think when the whole year and a half of trying to do ring muscle ups showed people that it can get accomplished, but things are challenging. And I would do it right here in front. I would practice right here in front of people too. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, like too. You just kind of touched on it. Is like, I've had people say to me, or just assume that I've got great genetics. I was born this way. I come from like a family of extreme athletes. Or you're like, no, it's the opposite. And that's what motivated me to do this, because I hated seeing my grandfather who passed away too young. My grandmother, my father, my parents, my dad's diabetic. I have an older brother that's diabetic. I have people in my family with heart disease, all these different ailments. And it's like at about age 30, they just stopped. They chose work and stress and what a lot of people do to make ends meet and pay bills and all this. And what we're trying to tell you is like, you can live a pretty good life no matter the income. And it's just like, it all comes back to your health, because with everything, like health, with us, faith, it's so much better. And it's just like, that's why we do what we do. Like, we push ourselves because we want to prove that we're still alive, and we also want to help those around us. And if we are always a step above, we can show them how we can teach people. Like, we could teach, for example, I like to put it this way, like, I'm 39, gonna be 40 in January. I want to keep improving 1% better, so that, like, now that I'm going to be 39, that I could teach Justin 5 years ago. But if you can't look back on your 5-year-old self and think I could teach that person, if you're still here, then that's where you need to reach out to somebody. Don't give up. Don't, oh man, I haven't done anything. No problem. 1%. And that's why people like me and Matt and others are out there to help you out. Before we wrap it up here, Matt, is there anything that you add, say, chat about, touch on, provide a one step further value to somebody's life?
I guess I just go over what we've already kind of covered today is what is your why? Where are you going to go with it? And start evaluating what are you going to put in your life, in your consistent daily pattern that's going to help propel that. And reinforce it with those daily activities or those daily movements or daily obstacles. And one of the things that helped me really get a good grasp on this and become really consistent is a program by Hal Elrod, the Miracle Morning. It's the Savers program, and it's Savers is an acronym that stands for I sit in silence a little bit every day. All right, I do affirmations a little bit every day, and affirmations just building yourself up. Why do you believe that you're fit? Why do you believe that you're smart? Why do you believe that you're able to do whatever that task is, and how you're going to do that? You want to visualize that, and that's how you're going to visualize it. And it's like, so if I'm going to visualize myself doing those, like I said, those rings or the handstand walks, I need to actually visualize it. How am I going to kick up?
That's
okay.
Huge.
And then exercise. What am I going to do a little bit each day to get better at that? Not necessarily your big workout. I'm talking, what drill are you going to put in weight? Maybe it's push-ups. I want to be able to do 50 push-ups. How am I going to do that? I'm going to start with 1. That's how you start. You start with 1. And tomorrow you do 2. All right. And then read. If you read 10 pages a day, that's 1,800 pages in a year. How many books that'll be? You realize that? 10 pages a day. All right. And then the last one is scribe. Write things down. All right. Write it down, whether it's a to-do list or whether it's a reflection of your day. Okay. That's called the Savers program. I absolutely love that. I've got a buddy that Wade. He actually did the Miracle Morning a few months back. Love that he did it. I think he may have done it before then. I've done it for the last 6 or 7 years, and I absolutely go back through the entire program at least once a year to just ground myself.
I mean, that's kind of how I live my lifestyle, the way you put it, and I've gotten a lot of people on it. And I think, I know I have a lot of friends who do that 75 hard program. I haven't heard it. I think if you've done that before doing this, you're missing out. 75 hard is a great program. I think you need to do what you're just talking about. And you hit the nail on the head right there with some really good points. And the one I wanted to point out was something people have heard, and I say pretty regularly, but like literally the people you surround yourself around with, and the story you tell yourself. So the story you tell yourself and the people you're around is what you become. And so he's telling himself these stories of things he can already visualize accomplishing or doing or being, or the people, like these all accumulate like into your life. It's in small 1%. Your 1% that we talked about, it could be up or it could be down, but you don't see it until it's 100% or 50% or whatever, like weight gain, weight loss. You know what I mean? It's the efforts that put forward. It's all these little things. And like, so you've got to start personally developing, working on these things, the things that he's talked about, and be careful of your headspace, because you go down these rabbit holes that we're seeing, and that forms your new headspace, your new life, and you don't even realize it, that you've almost become a robot to whatever system you're in. So I would say, if you're going to become a robot, make it a positive one, make it a serving one, a giving one, because we are, again, what we tell ourselves or what we surround ourselves. And use your imagination on that. I've talked about this plenty on the podcast. That's basically what he was getting at. And I'm sure, because I'm going to make him give me a bio and some of these links that he's talking about and put them below the show notes, so you guys can definitely check it back, because that's what we're all about. We're providing free information here on this podcast, provide value in people's lives, and all we want is a pat on the back. So share, like, subscribe, click on notifications. We're on, I think, 8 platforms now, not including YouTube, and we are all listener supported. So do what you can to support us, whether it be just sharing or if you feel so called to donate. That's it. Appreciate it. Thanks, Matt. I think we covered a lot. We could talk all day. We're going to stop right here. We've been going for about 36 minutes, so hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you want to reach out to my friend Matt, I'll put that stuff below. Definitely follow him on social media. He's an amazing dude. And with that, thanks for tuning in. Take care.